Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about having an Aries Sun and Virgo Ascendant in a natal chart. Now, basically, the Virgo Ascendant people with Virgo rising are often very meticulous, analytical, very punctilious with details, can be very exacting, sometimes a little bit judgmental and critical. They can often detect things and make observations that others can't. And this could camouflage a nature that is maybe a little bit, I'd say probably a lot more aggressive, assertive, more argumentative, more disputatious, more combative or quarrelsome, and maybe a sign that has a much more fiery temperament, such as like Aries. Aries has a fiery temperament, so that would the Virgo rising will camouflage this very strongly. However, in their own company in private, the Aries qualities and attributes may very still strongly come out. Having this combination can make one, if they make a statement to somebody, it might not come across as quite as outspoken or as strong as somebody with, say, that had an Aries and an Aries Sun and Aries Ascendant, but maybe because you have that Virgo mix in there, it can come across a little bit critical, but yet, or maybe somewhat caustic, because you have a little bit of that Aries, you might have a little bit of that Aries outspoken mixed in with the Virgo tact in diplomacy, but you're going to have the statement maybe still come out at least some degree, maybe in a light way, but still may come out as somewhat outspoken, not necessarily brusque, but still direct. Now, this person may very likely incorporate the Virgo and Aries qualities into some kind of work. It could be somebody that maybe is some kind of leader, maybe in some capacity, where maybe attention to detail is strongly accentuated and emphasized. It could even be something like detailing vehicles. It could be in information technology. It could even be something connected with cleaning, because Virgo is the type of sign. Out of all the signs in the zodiac, on average, I think they would emphasize being meticulous and being very clean. That's really one of Virgo rising's pet peeves. And I look at this, and what it is the rising sign. The sun sign represents our basic wants, and the rising sign could show the method in which we go about in attaining those basic wants. So the Aries basic Sun and Aries basic wants may consist of maybe being a pioneer, leadership, something with management. It could even be something that might involve competitiveness, like in sports, for example. That would be a good example of that. And it could be something where the courage and fortitude is shown. It could be something, the military. It might be work with metals. It could be firefighting. It could be police work, law enforcement. But having the Virgo rising, it could be very more premeditative in their approach to these things, not quite as impulsive or spontaneous, but may do so with a lot of more prudence, analysis, and caution, but may still attempt to attain these Aries basic sun wants, even if the Aries doesn't come out much strongly on the surface as opposed to the Virgo rising, because the rising sign is, I believe, the dominant thing in a person's chart, and it's predominant in terms of your outer demeanor and your attributes that you're expressing readily to others on the surface. And when I look at this combination, it really what it is it's really a more, I guess you could say, a little more passive, easygoing side to the person that's suppressing to some degree a more fiery temperament, and a temperament that might be a little bit might have that propensity to be disagreeable a little more, and somebody that is very strongly outspoken and forthright in what he or she says. And I think when you have the Virgo rising, you're going to add that tact and diplomacy a little bit into the mix, and it might somehow suppress that stronger, I guess you could say, that Aries quality a little more beneath the surface. And when I look at this, it's important to see the aspect that the ascendant makes to the sun sign. Now, if it's an inconjunct aspect, it could indicate some tension and exasperation, and the person might feel maybe misconstrued or misunderstood by others. Now, we take another example. Let's say we take, if somebody has let's say a late Aries sun and an early Virgo rising or ascendant, it could make an out of sign trine. And then the energy would be a little bit more compatible, a little bit more flowing and auspicious, and the person would likely be able to incorporate the Sun and Aries qualities a little more with the Virgo rising tendencies and characteristics. So that is something to look at. And also see where the Sun is positioned, because even though the Virgo characteristics might be more expressed outwardly, more so than the Sun and Aries, the Sun and Aries will come out in that particular house pretty strongly. Now, often if somebody has an Aries Sun and Virgo rising, the Sun will often be in the 7th, 8th, or 9th house. Now, in the 7th house, this could show that the Aries aggressive, assertive energy may come out in partnership and relationship situations. In the 8th house, it could be things connected in some cases with astrology, the occult, supernatural, things connected with transformation, regeneration, things where perhaps others and shared resources. In the 9th house, it might come out strongly in things connected with higher education, religion, philosophy, the in-laws, if applicable. Well, anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for having the Sun in Aries and Virgo Ascendant. And stay tuned next time, where I'll be dissertating and talking about having an Aries Sun and Libra Ascendant in a natal chart. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel, but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone. Because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.